What's up, YouTube? I'm Cool here. Actually going to be talking about another very well requested video, and it is how to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh! So, the question of the day is, how do you better yourself at this terrible card game that we call a children's card game? And, well, I'm going to be pretty straightforward and honest with you. It's going to be pretty hard. Several things that I kind of do to keep up with the game and I guess better myself. I guess I'll go through that list. It's just kind of like a general list of things. First off, make sure you have friends that play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I can't stress this enough. Why do you need friends to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And why can't you just play by yourself? Having friends to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Allows you to bounce ideas off of them. Also gives you people to practice. And I would make sure that your friends are decent at this game, because there's a threshold level that you need people that are equally as good to you or better than you to become better at this game yourself. You can play a bunch of novices all day that just picked up the game, and it's not going to do you any real good whatsoever. You need to make sure that you can engage with people that have general combo ability, general sensibility of their card choices, general things like this. Now, I know this can be extremely difficult. This is probably one of the most difficult things that you can do, is trying to find people that have similar interests to you. And I know that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community can be rather small in certain areas. I know that this can be difficult. This can also be achieved by talking to people online, through Skype, Facebook groups. Just getting to know friends in general will help you. And to be honest, it's really not that hard to message a few people asking them questions. I mean, I get bombarded with questions, and sometimes I can't answer them all. My favorite's probably ruling questions. And, you know, it sucks I can't respond to everything that I get asked, because sometimes I just plain don't know. And I'm not going to insult you by giving you a wrong answer. I would rather just respond and say, no, I don't know. And if you get mad at me, well, you know. And, you know, talk to people that you think know what they're doing in the game. Make sure that you have friends in the game that make coherent card choices and things like that. And, you know, it also allows you to build a group of people that will go with you to an event. And, you know, if you go with people to an event, you can have a good time, things like that. So it allows you to build friendships, things like that. When you have strong Yu-Gi relationships, you'll be able to conquer the Yu-Gi-verse. Outside of that, though, friends that are decent at this game. I'm not talking about the guy that just bought Madoche for $150 thinking it's the best deck in the game. No, because he's probably not going to know what he's doing with the deck for the first couple hundred games he's playing. Secondly, time. A deck that you have practiced with, as opposed to a deck that you've just picked up, will pretty much always be your better choice. Now, I'm saying this from experience. Having a deck that you have experience with, having a deck that you've played for years, will probably grant you better amnesty than playing Shaddolls for the current time being, unless you practice with them, or it's similar to a deck that you've played. This is where playing in previous formats comes into being. If you played in previous formats, you can tell which decks actually act like previous decks in other formats. And I can't stress this enough either. Playing in a previous format will grant you the ability to figure out how the current format is going to evolve, or general things like that. Because pretty much every format in this game has been like another format. I think we've had enough formats now to where you can pretty much tell when a degenerate deck is going to come up, and you're going to be like, oh, herp derp, well, this is just like, you know, fish FTK or fish OTK. General things like that, you know, teledad formats, things like that. And plus, playing in previous formats, if you play against the dumbed down version of that deck in today's format like Lightsworn, you can kind of gauge where you need to be. Because, yes, playing in the previous Lightsworn format, you know, you could tell where the Tier 0 Sworn player was going to be at the end of his turn, or where he needed to be. And if you're playing against Lightsworn now, yes, it's a dumbed-down version of the deck, don't get me wrong, but if you played in that format, you pretty much know what your extreme card choices are going to be and what those situations are. And that's kind of why I can't stress, you know, playing in those formats enough. Is because just because you play against a deck in today's day and age, and it's a lot weaker than the previous deck, doesn't mean that the deck doesn't do the same functionally, like, flamboyant thing that it used to. So, I don't know, just something that a lot of players take for granted is the previous formats, because they don't want to go back and learn them. And I mean, I've pretty much learned them all from first-hand experience, and God, I hated it so much. Some of these formats have been god-awful. Some of them have been okay, but if you're going to want to get better at this game, you're going to have to learn previous formats. Go Control for the funness, Teledad Dad return for the OTKs in the presence of other decks. Lightsworn for the speed and destruction of a tier 0 deck. Frog FTK for the 70% win ratio format. Frog FTK format actually had spaceships in it, and it was actually a good format. And I know a lot of people kind of really underestimate that format. But you know, these are all formats that you should be practicing in. Hell, even some of the OCG formats that we didn't have stuff. Green Baboon format. Oh god, I love Babu Burn. Rida, or Light and Darkness Dragon. It was Perfect Circle in the States, but there were still multiple versions of it across the formats in different, you know, the TCG and the OCG. Even though we had the same list, it's still different card pools at different times, a lot for different decks. And you know, Rida's a deck now that can exist. It's just, it doesn't. Perfect Circle Monarchs, Diamond Dude Turbo, all just examples that people don't know what these decks do. And it's really sad that, you know, you want to get better at this game, but you don't know how previous card interactions work, and you can't make the networks in your brain. So, to the new players that are getting into this game, build a network of friends. Go on Dueling Network. Practice, 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 practice. I can't stress that enough. If you have any desire whatsoever to get better at this game, previous formats, probably going to be your baby. I would also dabble in the OCG a little bit, read up on what's good in the OCG, because let's be perfectly honest here, just because it's not here doesn't mean it's not doing good, doesn't mean it won't be relevant a year from now. And that's kind of where, you know, something comes out and you want to pick it up on DevPro and start practicing with it. Go on Dueling Network and TCG, OCG, play with Shadalls. Before they came out, you would have got a little bit more of an impact on what the deck was going to do. So that's just one of the things. That's what I did with Shadalls when they first came out. We built a really crappy bootleg version of the deck, and we kind of just went to town with it. It was a lot of fun, and that's kind of how I knew where I wanted to be with Shadalls when I went to Gen Con, was from that experience I had back in June and July. But these are just the things that I do to kind of ease my way into the game, I guess is the best way to say it. Your experiences might differ. There might be different things that you might do, but for God's sakes, please leave a comment down below. Help out these people in the comment section that are reading this or watching this video, because there are a lot of things that I miss every video, and you know, I'm only just one person for my opinion. So please comment, tell them what you're thinking, guys, and I'm out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please thumbs up this video to show your support, and please check out Vanguard 40 for Cardfight Vanguard, M-Kohl Games for miscellaneous trading card games, and No Limit Gaming for a brand new series of Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks for watching.